China just dropped something that's shaking up the entire AI world. Self-evolving robots with really human-like physical intuition. Not just pre-programmed movements, not just machine learning, but robots that can imagine, taste, and correct their actions almost like they can think with their bodies. Now I know what you are thinking. That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this isn't fiction. This is a real AI system called WOW, short for World-Omniscient World Model, built by a research team in China that says these robots can literally learn and evolve on their own. And in this video, we're not just going to skim the surface, we will go deep into what exactly this AI is, how it actually works, why it's different from every other robot we have seen, and what it really means for the future of human-level robotics. So if you have ever wondered how close we are to robots that can understand physics, learn from their mistakes, and improve without constant human supervision, stay with me till the end. Because by the time you finish this video, I promise you will understand this breakthrough better than 95% of people talking about it online. Alright, so now let's talk about what exactly did China just reveal. Well, a team from the Basic Humanoid Robot Innovation Center, working together with Peking University and HKUST, just unveiled a new AI system called WOW, short for World-Omniscient World Model. And trust me, this isn't just another robot lunch. This is a full-scale AI framework designed to give robots something we humans take for granted: the ability to learn through real-world experience. See, most robots today don't actually learn from doing. They follow pre-written patterns, code instructions, or datasets collected somewhere else. So when the environment changes, let's say lightning shift, an object falls differently, or a surface becomes slippery, they don't know how to adapt, and they just fail. But WOW changes that. It's powered by a 14 billion parameter AI brain, roughly the same size as some of the world's most advanced language models. But here is the twist. Instead of understanding words, it understands physics, motion, and cause and effect relationships. What makes it revolutionary is how it interacts with the world. WOW doesn't just sit there and analyze video data, it learns by doing. Just like a child who learns to balance, pick up the toys, or avoid touching something hot. The system experiments, observes the result, and improves its future actions based on that experiments. Now, you might be wondering, they're calling it self-evolving. What does that actually mean? Are those robots just upgrading themselves overnight? Actually, no, not exactly. Self-evolving doesn't mean the robot suddenly becomes alive or conscious. It simply means the AI can generate new training data for itself. It interacts with its environment, notices outcomes, corrects its mistakes, and updates its understanding without a human engineer having to manually retrain it every single time. So whenever you hear the term self-evolving AI, remember, it's not about robots growing minds, it's about continuous learning, models refining themselves automatically using new experiences. Think of it like this. Most AIs today are like students who graduate once and then never study again. Whatever they know at lunch, that's it. They stay frozen at that level of intelligence. But WOW is like the student who keeps learning on the job every single day from every single task it performs. It's the same way human learns to cook better after burning a few omelets. Experience becomes the teacher. And that's the real reveal here. This isn't just AI sitting behind a screen anymore. This is AI stepping into the physical world, interacting with it, learning from it, and adapting in real time. It's the beginning of robots that don't just move, they understand why they move. If you are deep into AI research, WW is fascinating because it merges world models, embodied learning, and reinforcement feedback loops. Three areas that have mostly existed separately until now. That's why many experts are calling it a genuine leap toward autonomous cognition in robotics. Now, the real question is, how does it actually work under the hood? What's happening inside this 14 billion parameter brain that allows these robots to imagine, predict, and even correct their actions before they take them? So let's break down what's actually going on inside this thing, because once you understand how it works, you will realize why the AI community is calling it a game changer. Well, at its core, WW is built like a layered brain. and each layer plays a different role in helping the robot understand, imagine, and act. The first layer is what they call Vision Language Understanding or VLM. That's basically how the robot sees and describes the world around it. Think of it as the perception layer. It captures what's in front of it, labels it in natural language, and gives meaning to every visual cue. Then comes the world model core, formed by 14 billion parameters. This is where the real magic happens. This layer predicts the future, not in a sci-fi way, but in a purely physical sense. It runs through possibilities. Like, if I move my head like this, what will happen to that object? It's like the robot's imagination. Instead of just reacting, it visualizes the outcome of different actions before committing to one. Now add another layer, the physical simulation and feedback loop. So before the robot even makes a move, it runs thousands of tiny internal simulations of what might happen. It predicts multiple futures, filters out the unrealistic ones, and goes with the version that makes the most sense physically. And if the outcome doesn't match its prediction, it self-corrects on the spot. And this isn't trained just on a video clips or computer graphics. WW learned through embodied training, which means it actually used real-world data from over 2 million physical robot interactions, lifting, grasping, balancing, and moving. That's hands-on experience, not screen-based learning. Now, a lot of people ask, how can an AI imagine or self-correct? Isn't that just fancy coding? Not really. What's actually happening is that the system runs thousands of micro simulations inside its neural network. Just like your brain does when you reach for a cup or throw a ball. You don't consciously calculate every moment. Your mind predicts what will happen and adjusts if something feels off. WOW does something very similar, just with sensors and algorithms instead of nerves and muscles. And here is a cool fact that not many people know. This entire idea is inspired by the human motor cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for planning and simulating movements before you actually do them. So in a way, China's new model isn't copying technology, it's copying biology. So what have we actually seen these robots do so far? Well, during the public demos, the robots powered by the WW model were shown performing some seriously impressive tasks. Things like picking up and manipulating random objects, maintaining balance even when nudged, and adapting in unpredictable environments where older robots would have completely failed. What really stood out is how naturally they handled physical reasoning. The WW model helps them understand the basic rules of physics, collisions, weight, object permanence, and even cause and effect. In simple terms, it knows that if you drop a ball, it's going to bounce, not disappear. That might sound obvious, but for a robot, that level of real-world understanding is a massive step forward. To measure this progress, researchers created something called WW Bench, a new benchmark that tests how well an AI understands physical consistency and causal reasoning. And it's not just about movement, it's about whether the robot actually comprehends what's happening around it. Now, a lot of people are asking, is there real video proof of this? And the answer is yes, there is. Short clips have already been shown on Chinese state media like CGTN and also at academic conferences, where the robots were seen performing these tasks in live settings. But here is the catch. Independent testing is still in very early stage. The data we have seen so far mostly comes from controlled lab environments. And that's important to remember. Lab success doesn't always mean field success. So while these demos are undeniably exciting, the true test will come when these robots face the messy, unpredictable nature of the real world, outside of careful managed conditions. Now let's be smart about this. Every breakthrough in AI comes with a fine print, and WW is no exception. In the official research paper, the team openly admits to something they call physical hallucinations. That means sometimes the robot predicts outcomes that look real inside its simulations, but in the real world, they are physically impossible. So, for example, it might believe that it can move an object faster or further than physics actually allows. There is also what they describe as stochastic instability. In simple terms, that means the robot doesn't behave the exact same way every time, even under similar conditions. it might take slightly different actions. That kind of unpredictability might sound small, but in robotics, small inconsistency can mean big risks, especially when you are dealing with moving parts or human environments. And when people hear human like physical intuition, it's easy to get carried away. Let's be clear, real human intuition is still way ahead. What WOW shows is task specific intelligence, not consciousness or full blown common sense. It's learning to reason through motion and contact, but it's not aware in the way we are. So, are we close to real human like robots? The answer is not yet. This is real progress, but there is still a long road ahead in terms of generalization, safety, and consistent reliability. Right now, these systems are brilliant specialists, not general thinkers. Now, you might be thinking, if it's not perfect yet, why is everyone so hyped about it? Well, here is the thing. What makes WW such a big deal is that it's one of the very first systems to actually combine imagination and physical feedback inside a single AI brain. That's a massive leap. Until now, most AIs could either imagine or act, not both. But this one can literally simulate what might happen, test those ideas, and then physically adjust based on what it learns. And that's important because it finally bridges the gap between two worlds. Vision language AI like ChatGPT or Gemini that understand and describe things, and embodied intelligence which actually interacts with the real world. It's like connecting the digital brain to the physical body for the first time in a way that makes sense. China's move here also sends a very clear message. They are going all in on AI-driven robotics. This isn't about chatbots anymore. It's about creating physical machines that can think, reason, and act with purpose. And that puts them in direct competition with companies like Figure, Tesla's Optimus, and Agility Robotics in the US. The global race isn't just about who builds the smartest software, it's about who builds the smartest machine. And here is something to keep in mind if you follow AI trends. This makes a real shift in focus. We have spent years building AI that talks. Now the next race is about AI that acts. Because the future isn't just about smart conversations, it's about smart actions in the real world. Now let's zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger picture. Because what China is building here doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone. See, the technology behind WW is what we call dual use. It can be used for both civilian and military purposes. On one hand, it could power advanced factory automation or healthcare robots, but on the other hand, the same kind of adaptive self-learning systems could also be applied to defense, surveillance, or even autonomous weapon platforms. That's where things start to get complicated. Then there is the question of safety and verification. If a robot's world model starts to hallucinate physics, meaning it predicts something that looks real but isn't physically possible, that's not just a bug, that's a real world safety risk. Imagine a robot misjudging a fall or grabbing something too hard because it thought the object was lighter. These are the kind of problems researchers are still trying to fix. And transparency is another big topic. China has said that parts of WOW will be open source, which sounds great for research and collaboration, but as of now, full release details are still pending. Nobody outside the core research team really knows how open it's going to be or how much control the government might maintain. Now, here is something I want you to think about. Would you feel comfortable if humanoid robots could learn and improve themselves every day without human oversight? It's not a sci-fi question anymore. That's genuinely where this technology is heading. But here is the key thing, and I want to end this part calmly, not dramatically. The real question isn't whether robots can evolve, it's whether we can guide their evolution responsibly. Because that's what's going to decide whether this future feels like progress or like a warning. Alright, let's wrap this up. So to sum it up in one line, China's new self-evolving AI robots powered by the WW model are a massive step forward in embodied intelligence. These robots aren't just following pre-written code, they're actually imagining outcomes, verifying them through physics, and correcting themselves when they're wrong. That's something we have only seen in human-like learning before. But, and this is important, they're still not at human-level intuition yet. We're talking about robots that understand motion, balance, and cause effect pretty well, but they still lack deep common sense. emotional understanding, and the kind of fixable reasoning that humans do effortlessly. Still, this is a serious leap toward machines that can truly interact with the physical world, not just analyze it from behind a screen. Now, I want to hear from you. So, do we be excited about this or cautious? Do you see these evolving robots as the next big leap for humanity, or as something we should slow down and study more carefully? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them. And hey, if you find this breakdown useful and want more deep dive explanations like this one about AI, robotics, and the future of tech, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn on the bell because we're just getting started.